So will this race whittle down to the bankroller versus the true believer? And which of these two appeals to the undecided voter will work? Let's bring in the hardball strategist, the experts, Democrat Steve McMahon, Republican Todd Harris. You've got a strange political party. It's kind of schizoid. You've got the people that believe what they say and the people who have got the money to pretend they have what they say. How about this? You know, you go work for some businesses, like in merchandising, they make you take a lie detector test before you start to see if you really are trustworthy or not. Do you think you should do that to your candidates? Does Mitt Romney really believe this Tea Party stuff that Michelle Bachmann obviously believes in her dreams? Seriously, you're laughing, but do you really believe Mitt Romney's a Tea Party type? Does he really believe this stuff?
I'm not sure he's trying to present himself as the Tea Party type. He's trying to present himself as a conservative, certainly. But this is the classic. Classic battle that every Republican primary. You've got the movement conservative person and the more establishment person. But regardless of how it shakes out when people are actually voting, this setup, this context could not be better for Mitt Romney. Because right now, Michelle Bachmann's presence is completely freezing out Tim Pawlenty and Huntsman, the two guys that were trying to occupy the same space that Romney is occupying. The better Michelle Bachmann does,
there it is
the
again.
tougher it is for them.
I know this is weird and cosmetic, and people say I'm a lightweight for this. How come Mitt Romney's collars, when he doesn't button them at the top, stay together? Look at that. This is really the amazing Kreskin or somebody to be explaining this to me. Uri Geller or somebody. How does he keep them together like that?
Custom shirts that Mitt Romney probably favors. You have the little secret thing where you can
it's peaceful. Okay, let's get back to business here. What do you think of the party? They got a schizoid situation there. They got the body wants to be T. The head may be thinking, oh, we got to go to the middle with Romney. But Romney was for health care in Massachusetts. He's a pro-choicer in terms of abortion rights. Radically different than the Tea Party people.
Here's what
radically different.
But here's what you have going on in the Republican Party, I think, simultaneously. I think Todd's broken down the ideological barrier absolutely correctly. You've got the establishment conservatives who want somebody who's pure, and you've got the other more country club Republicans who want somebody who's more like them. But I think...
But you look like a country club Republican.
Well, sometimes when I put a tie on.
I look more like a hippie.
But at the end of the day, the most important thing to the Republicans, the pragmatic Republicans, is who can be competitive with President Obama. They would say who can beat President Obama. They know in their heart that neither Michelle Bachmann nor Rick Perry nor Newt Gingrich nor anybody who is on the far right is going to be able to get that done and make it competitive.
Here's your latest poll, the new Fox News poll of Republican primary voters to make their point or not. Romney leads the pack at 18. No, it's really not jumping up there yet with all his name ID, followed by Texas Governor Rick Perry, who I don't think they'd recognize in a police lineup, and 13 with Michelle. He's got 13. Michelle Bachmann's at 11. Rudy Giuliani's still in there. Palin, Ron Paul still in there with very low numbers. It looks to me, though, your problem with your party, back to the usual argument we have around here, people seem to keep voting for people who aren't running. Why is that? They don't like the ones that are running. It's like, I don't like anything I see.
This happens in both parties. I remember people begging Mario Cuomo, please run. You know, right now they're talking about, Jeb Bush, please run. Chris Christie,
Marco Rubio.
Well, why are they doing
that? Well, the political grass.
Answer your question.
Political grass is always greener. As soon as people throw their hats into the ring, they start getting scrutinized. All of a sudden, everyone starts saying, "Oh, wouldn't it be great if this person, who we don't really know very much about, but they seem like they'd be a great candidate," and that's what you're seeing in these polls. But these national primary polls don't mean.
Okay, let me ask you one thing. Political parties like to have the person up on that podium or that big speaker at the end, male or female, whatever. They want them to believe what they believe. Do you still think that's important, or is it just to seize this opportunity to knock off Obama?
Oh, no, I think...
Do they want Romney to believe what they believe?
Of course. You want your party, your candidate, to represent the values...
Represent or believe, or share your beliefs. There's a difference.
But this happens all...
But I'll go back to Steve's point. Whatever will beat Obama.
Okay, this is pure opportunism on their party.
Hold on a minute. You're talking about that this is somehow isolated to the Republican Party. Let's not forget Barack Obama ran for president. He was going to close Gitmo, end the war. He was not going to. He
tried to do those things.
He was a candidate on the left.
Yeah, that's right. So it's no different than what's happening.
Name a thing that Obama said he was going to do he didn't want to do.
He caved on the Bush tax cuts.
He wanted to do these things. He had a point of view. What does Romney want to do?
If he wanted to do these things, then why did he campaign in 2008 saying, if you vote for me in the primary, I will close Gitmo,
he's trying to do those things. He tried to close Gitmo, but he couldn't do it.
So he's just ineffective then.
Well, that could be a problem in some of these cases, but you can't. I'm asking you a fundamental question. You are dodging. Shouldn't the Republican Party run somebody who believes in their principles and not just somebody who'll manage to get by the gate?
Absolutely, but I don't think whether Mitt Romney...
Let's go to Bachmann. Here's Michelle Bachmann.
He's hedging.
I'm told to let you answer. Are you answering?
I don't think that you get to be the final arbiter on whether Republicans think that Mitt Romney believes his principles.
Oh, I don't think people
believe it. But we get to talk about it today, don't we? I mean, the problem with Mitt Romney, of course, is we don't really know what he believes because he's been on both sides of so many issues. And the only issue that he remained consistent on is the one that's anathema in the Republican primary. He supported Obamacare in Massachusetts, and frankly, the president modeled the national health care legislation after what was successful in Massachusetts. And instead of flip-flopping on that, which probably would have been politically opportunistic, he stuck to his guns. I'm glad he did, but I think it's a problem for him in the primary.
Let's go to an interesting curiosity about Michelle Bachmann, who we've been watching closely since we launched her a few years ago around here. Unfortunately, perhaps, or fortunately for some people. Michelle Bachmann's husband, Marcus, who I met, it seems like a nice fellow. He's a Christian counselor. Last year, he went on radio, a program, and referred to gays as barbarians. Let's listen to what he said and why.
We have to understand barbarians need to be educated. They need to be disciplined. And just because someone feels it or thinks it doesn't mean that we're supposed to go down that road. That's what's called the sinful nature. And we have a responsibility as parents and as authority figures not to encourage such thoughts and feelings to move into the action step.
So what do you make of that as a national campaign message that people who are gay should not act on being gay? Well, that's an argument. It's a religious argument, perhaps, but it's certainly an odd thing to be making as a public spokesman for a spouse of a political campaign.
Well, I don't think it's going to be the message of her campaign. It's probably not language that even she potentially would use. But I will say this:
barbarians.
Yeah, I would assume she wouldn't.
She's but I would
I'll say this with the Republican base. If the media wants,
Congresswoman is dancing pretty lively there, I think.
The more the media wants to pick on Michelle Bachmann, the more her base.
No, we don't pick on her.
The more the base is going to love her, because the one thing that all Republicans are always skeptical of is any candidate that the mainstream media falls in love with. And so if the media is attacking Bachmann, they're going to be Bachmann.
I'm for Michelle Bachmann. I hope she's not. I'm for Michelle Bachmann.
You make these accusations about it seems to me over the years the media has been falling in love with, and you've been correct about it. People like me have always liked Mario Cuomo. We thought he was a true believer. We thought he was a really good, progressive, liberal guy,
smart
and a good man, And then we all fell for Colin Powell, a lot of us. And we thought Colin Powell would be great. None of these guys go anywhere. And then we all were for a while there for John McCain. I admit there's a mainstream media sort of favorite at the time, but they never win.
No, that wasn't my point. My point was that look, I was on the McCain 2000 campaign where the press was in love with John McCain.
Why not? And straight talk. We like that.
The one thing that we
like the straight part.
The one thing we would hear constantly from conservative activists is how skeptical they were of John McCain because why did the media like him so much?
Because he was talking the truth.
Well, but okay, so
what's wrong with that? By the way, you're laughing at that.
Hey, I had a great time on that campaign.
I think Michelle Bachmann would make a great nominee, and I hope she picks Sarah Palin to be vice president because I'd like to see the ticket, not the mud wrestling match.
Oh, you're just being ridiculous.
I just think it would be.
Do you think? Let me ask you this, because you're an expert. You know your party better than you do or I do. Do you think there's a chance Michelle Bachmann can be the nominee of the Republican Party?
There's a chance. I think it'd be tough. But yeah, but there's a chance.
Who's the front runner?
Romney.